for me, I just can't get behind willpower. And for a long time, I tried to, and I really thought I could, but I just kind of had to look at myself in the face and say, Faith, willpower is just not something you should be trying to exert like all the time. I was watching this one video about Hamza, and he was talking about how to level up your willpower. And he said, what you need to do is put the chocolate. I'm not even going to try to talk like him, but he basically saying put the thing that you are trying to resist in front of you, and then not let yourself do it. And he was like, of course, you're going to fall into temptation every now and then, but like if you deplete your willpower, then when it comes back, it'll get stronger. Like a muscle, you break it down, when it recovers, it's stronger. And like the logic was fair, it was sound, it was a good argument, right? And the reason why he said do this again is side note, but the reason why he said do it was because what if there's a moment where you have to use willpower, but because you've stayed away from that thing that tempted you, that now you have no choice but to be around it, you're going to break, right? She said, don't try to stay away from things that's taking your power. Instead, be around it so that you can become more in control and you won't fall victim to that, fall to its temptations when you're in a situation where you can't be away from it. And that was very sound, very base. And I was like, bet, I'm going to try it out. And it didn't work for me. Like, I got donuts because I love donuts and I'm tempted by them crazy. And I got donuts. And I told myself, this is a test of my willpower. And I ate it. And I ate it. Like, every time I tried to just have the thing that was tempting me by me and just use my willpower against it, I always broke down. I always broke down. And it wasn't until I just shifted my mindset and was like, you know what? I'm going to accept that I don't have willpower. I don't have maximum amounts of willpower. It's not going to get leveled up. As much as I tell myself I can do this, it's just not going to get leveled up. And I know this is very limiting and maybe fixed mindset, but it worked for me because once I realized that, okay, I don't have the willpower that I thought, I don't have this extra strong, healthy, durable willpower, then it was just like, okay, well, if I don't have it, then I'm just not going to put myself in a situation where I have to use the willpower, right? And so that's what I did. And here's the crazy thing. So this year, so last year I was really stuck on donuts. I was eating like 4 donuts a day because I thought I could be willpower and get donuts, and then it just kind of spiraled out of control. And before I knew it, I wasn't thinking about it. I was just going to the store getting donuts. So I was like, bet this year I'm not gonna have any sweets at all. I'm gonna stay away from them. I'm gonna inoculate myself from them so that I won't do it. And it worked for 6 months. I've gone without eating any donuts, any Oreo cookies, any sweets, any cakes, any of that. Except for this one time I had IHOP. And that's because I had done something really great and I was like, I'm going to celebrate. So one time out of the 6 months, I've had sweets. And I did that by not using willpower and staying away from it, but by just keeping it away from me so I don't have to use willpower. Now, here's the crazy thing. Now, in Hamza's argument, he was like, okay, well, if you stay away from the thing that you're tempted to, if you stay away from the thing you're tempted by, then when you're around it, then you're not going to have any control and you're going to do it. Here's the thing, though. For me, that didn't happen. Because I've gone so long without eating the sweets and the candies and donuts, all that stuff. It's like my brain kind of had time to pull away from its allure. My body kind of adjusted. And now it's like I can literally be around cake right now. I can be around donuts. I can smell a cake, cookies, baking. And instead of like usually I would run to it and just cannot control myself, now it's like I don't even feel an urge to go get it. I don't even need to use willpower to go and get the snack because I don't feel I don't feel like it's calling to me anymore. You feel me? It's just like I don't even use willpower to stay away from it anymore, even when it's right in my face. And that's like I'm kind of making a mindset. Like I'm kind of realizing something right now as I'm talking. It's like if you have to use willpower against something, that's just a sign that you need to stay away from that for a long time. Because let's say you're not a smoker. If you see cigarettes, are you gonna have to use willpower to stay away from it, or you can look at it and say, "I don't do that. I don't do it. It's not a habit of mine." So you don't do it. But if you were a smoker and the cigarettes are right there, you saw it, you would just immediately have to get it because you just be pulling to you. And that's how I felt with sweets and everything. Like if I saw it, I just pulled to it, and I could not. Even if I tried my willpower to stay away from it, just because I had to try my willpower, it meant that at some point I was going to break down. But now, because I stayed away from those things for long enough and gotten used to life without it, and realizing I can go without it, now when I see it, there's a difference because I don't feel like I'm using willpower to stay away from that. If that makes sense. It's this construct and self-improvement that we should have the most willpower and all this stuff, but I really don't think willpower is something that we should be leaning on to use. We should get to a point where we don't even have to use willpower because you're not tempted by that thing. And I feel like the only way to get to that point is to separate yourself from it for as long as you can, so that you can kind of establish in your mind that you don't need this anymore, and you kind of form a new identity where you find these new habits that you do, these new things that take up your mind, so that when the temptation that used to get you, now when you come around it, it just doesn't even, you don't even look at it anymore. Because it does nothing for you, because you've been separated from it for long enough. Now, there are some cases where you do have to use willpower. And there were some cases I had to use it. When I first started this year goal to stay away from sweets and stuff, there were times where my mom would bring a cupcake home, or my dad would bake cookies, and I had to use my willpower to stay away from it. But the thing is, I had to keep using it and using it. Because like Hamza was saying, he was like, get something that's in your room and always gonna tempt you, and then you just fight it. Fight it, and keep fighting it until you don't have to fight it anymore. But for me, it was like, when I did that, I would fight it, and then break down. Because it was just still there, still calling my name. But when I was in a situation where I couldn't really control what was gonna be around me, at least my willpower was temporary. So I only had to use my willpower long enough for the cakes to go, for my mom to finish the cupcake or the cake, or for my dad to bake the cookies and eat the cookies. It wasn't like I was constantly trying to stop myself. I always used my willpower in certain circumstances long enough that once it's gone, I didn't have to use it anymore, because, the stuff is gone. I couldn't, I can't just make it come back and eat it. It was gone. So I feel like there are some cases where you do have to use willpower, especially in the beginning, when you're in those circumstances where you can't really control that those things are going to be around you. So that's a good time to use your willpower. But I would say don't try to use your willpower all the time. You want to make your situation as easygoing, no thoughts, not having to use willpower at all, by getting rid of all the things that you have to use willpower on, until you get to that point where you can be around that thing and it does nothing for you. It does nothing to you. You aren't drawn to it. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that now that, I feel like, because I can literally look at cake right now and not eat it. But I'm not going to go ahead and say, okay, well, I'm good now. I'll have some cake, and I'll bring cake home, and I'm good now. I'll eat one slice, and then probably eat another slice next week. I'm not going to do that, because now it's like I'm going to get that one slice, and I'm going to, my guard is going to come down a little bit. And the minute your guard comes down and you think like you succeeded and you've crossed this threshold where you have the most strongest willpower and you aren't going to break, that's exactly when you break. And that's what happened to me for so long. That's when I broke. When I told myself, oh, I've got it now. I've crossed the line. I'm master level now, so it will never affect me. No. I don't put myself in situations where I have to use willpower. And even when I feel like I've reached the point where I'm good, I still do not allow myself to be in a situation where I have to use willpower. Because the brain is so easy to fall back into these old indulgences, these old traps. You never lose your bad habit. It just becomes less strong. But the minute you feed into it, it gets stronger. And now you're back into that spiral of fighting with yourself. So, let me know what you think. Do you think willpower is something that people should use, or do you think you're in my camp where you think you need to be in a situation where you don't have to use willpower only when it's needed? Don't want to use it all the time, but when it's needed, then you can use it. Let me know, and I will see you later.